mean, I grew up performing. Okay, so my mom, she says she knew I could sing by the way I cried as an infant, right? So I have 14, well, I'm 14, so 13 siblings, and I'm the only one that sings. You know, that's what I do for a living. And so I don't know how she knew. She like knew I was gonna be able to sing. And so she just started training me really early on. My mom is an incredible singer. I brought her out, she performed me at the Kennedy Center about a week ago. I told she'll sing me and anybody else under a table at her age, gladly. Yeah, so she just started training me to sing. Like, even she would have certain music I could listen to, certain ones I couldn't. She would say, you can't listen to bad singers. They'll ruin your voice. So she had, music that was approved for me to listen to develop my voice. And then, just growing up in Baltimore with my older brothers, like, that's how I really, like, got into hip hop. I always say my brother had this rule that girls couldn't come on the steps in the summertime unless they could rhyme. My brother, he really got me into freestyling. Like, you always hear like older rappers talk about like the battles that they were in that kind of seasoned them as an MC. For me, that was my brother, my older brother. I was probably like 8 years older. It's maybe between 8 and 10. And he was like a battle rapper, but he was, I was a kid, but he would just demolish me, just talk about my teeth and my hair and my ashy knees and, whatever. If I was sucking my thumb or whatever was wrong with me, he would just tear me down, and I would go in the house feeling all defeated. And I gotta try to get some rhymes up, try to find something I could say mean to him and, spit it the next day. So he really got me into like the hip hop culture. And when he saw that I was like really serious about it, I'm buying tapes and I'm writing down rap lyrics. I'm listening to the Wu-Tang, and he was like, all right. So he kind of took me under his wing, like, she might have some potential, So so that was kind of like my upbringing. Probably my mom, I think maybe when I was like 12 or 13 was the first time my mother gave me a show she couldn't do. She gave it to me like, you can do it, And that was like my first time doing a show by myself and making like $500. And I was like, oh my goodness, what? This how we living out here? I'm about to, what I'm saying? Like, so all throughout high school, I was just like, always trying to get gigs at different like local clubs, open mics, promoting myself. I had little business cards. Like, I'm telling you, I was so focused on my business so early. Early on, the music I learned, because I told you my mom's side is Choctaw and Creek. So when I would go to my grandmother's house in the summer times, I would learn traditional Native music. And she was also a choir director, even though she had converted to Islam before I was born, but she would still teach me like these gospel songs or songs from, spirituals from slavery. And my mom was a jazz singer, so she would teach me jazz songs. And then later she started working with this like Afro fusion jazz band. So I would learn a lot of like African music. So I just had like a really wide range of musical, experiences, genre. And yeah, you can hear all of those things present in my music today. Things I didn't think I would utilize are so much, they're in the forefront of what I do now. I didn't think about boxing myself until I got into the industry and they told me I had to. I didn't know that was even a thing. Because the other thing is that I was homeschooled until 10th grade. So there are a lot of things I just didn't really know about the world. Like, I didn't think the way that other people thought. I saw things as being very fluid. Everything was a circle, very, even just being an analytical thinker. Like, it wasn't until I got to a public school where people would give you information and everyone just would say, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I'll say, well, y'all don't want to question it? You don't want to like cross-reference it with something else that could have been happening at the same time? Maybe this information might not be correct. And I would get, put out of class for that. And I was so confused because I just didn't understand why no one would question anything, why everyone took everything for face value, why no one wanted to dig deeper, why, why people put things in boxes and just took that for what it was. Even the fact that I'm Native and Black, some people would say to me, that's weird. How could you be both of those things? I was like, actually, it's not weird because Native villages were all around the plantations. Like, that's why the Indian Removal Act moved all of the Natives off the East Coast, because there was such a union between Africans and Native people. There was the whole Seminole Indian Wars. They were Native and Black people fighting back against the United States government together. So it's not a weird thing, but you'll never hear about it in history books. But because I was homeschooled, I learned the whole history, and I didn't get till when I got to high school, I realized like no one learns the truth. Like, so they didn't tell y'all anything about that. Like, y'all don't know anything about that, or about South African apartheid, or so many different things that were common knowledge to me that they do not mention in public school. I didn't think information or in terms of like, I didn't look at things as being separate. I looked at this as like, this is all one thing, you know? Music the same way, genre, even between Black music, you know, between hip hop or soul and funk and jazz. Like I didn't look at those things as being so starkly like different and separate things, you know? But yeah, other people did.